Welcome to For the Record. I'm Shannon Perrine, and today we're talking about a futuristic effort that will create hundreds of jobs here in the Pittsburgh area. Mainspring Energy, which makes low emissions generators, building a state-of-the-art manufacturing facility in the airport corridor. The $175 million project is focused on clean energy manufacturing. And I'm speaking with Mainspring's head of global policy and regulatory affairs, as well as a member of the Allegheny Conference, to find out why this is so significant to the Pittsburgh region. Take a look. We're talking with Craig Gordon. We're talking with Matt Smith, both from different companies, agencies, but with one common goal in mind. This press release, when we got it, really got my attention because it had a big number of jobs, and I've seen a couple of different jobs associated with it. But what I just want to do first is start with you, Craig, and tell me, what is Mainspring Energy? What do you folks do?
Okay.
Yeah.
Easy question, Shannon.
Yeah.
So Mainspring produces a linear generator, and a linear generator is just a new kind of mousetrap to create power, electricity, in a way that is more environmentally friendly and a little bit more sophisticated than what we've seen, in the past. And so our technology basically is pretty simple on one level, where we have two oscillators that are about 200 pounds each that come back and forth, just oscillate 13 times a second, and they squeeze a fuel-air mixture to the point where you have a chemical reaction which creates a lot of energy, which pushes these oscillators back. They hit a spring, air spring, and then come back, and they just keep doing that over and over. And it's a very efficient process that doesn't involve oil, doesn't involve water, and essentially can run on any type of fuel.
Right, flexible fuel. And the thing that blows my mind about these linear generators and the scientists behind this is not only is it low emissions, you can use different kinds of fuel, natural gas, hydrogen, but there is no combustion?
That's right. There is no flame or spark in our system. The oscillators just squeeze the air-fuel mixture to the point where you have this chemical reaction, which then throws the oscillators back. And it was all part of the founder's idea to how can we build the most efficient type of power plant in a way that will help decarbonize the grid.
Tell me more about your founder.
Okay, so our founders are, our CEO is Shannon Miller, and she's been with the company from day one. She was one of the three co-founders. The other two co-founders, they all got their PhDs from Stanford, so they're super smart people, mechanical engineers, and they spent a decade kind of working on this design to, basically take an idea from the lab over at Stanford to make a commercialized product that, produces power in a way that people have imagined producing power in the past, but until power electronics became a thing, and now we're getting into an area where I can't go much deeper without being over my head.
And I wouldn't be able to get it.
So power electronics enable us to control these oscillators down to the width of a piece of paper. And so what you really need with this type of technology is the ability to control the reaction, and you can control the reaction by controlling the location of these two oscillators relative to each other. Otherwise, you have things get out of whack really quickly, so you have to really be precise in your controls to make a repeatable reaction. And that's one reason that for the last 50, 70 years, people have had this idea of doing it, but could never actually commercialize it because the technology wasn't there yet. And now the technology is there thanks to companies like Tesla and the automotive EVs that use these power electronics to convert electrical energy then to mechanical energy.
It's so cool. So have you made these yet? Is there another company that makes these, and are customers using them right now?
So absolutely, we're already making these. We've made our first commercial units back in 2020. The first units were deployed right at the same time COVID started, so that was kind of a rough time to get off the ground floor. But we have tens of megawatts of these units deployed. So we're not nothing, but we're not, we haven't reached the pinnacle either of where we want to go.
And give us a sense for who your customers are. They're institutions like hospitals. I'm thinking universities,
Yes.
military barracks, that kind of thing.
All right, so we have customers that are like data center companies have lots of data center load. We have customers who are in the biogas field.
They need a lot of power.
The data centers need a ton of power,
right,
and they can't get enough power. They can't get power fast enough at this point. Other customers are like big box stores. I can't name names because we're under NDAs, but big box stores that deliver goods from location to location. Grocery stores. You mentioned hospitals. We've signed 3 hospital locations in the New York City area this year. We are powering up the country's largest EV charging microgrid right now at the Port of Los Angeles. So this is a situation where Prologis, which owns a lot of warehouses across the country, they have a tenant called Maersk, who's also a very familiar name in transnational shipping, and Maersk was replacing about 100 of their diesel trucks with EV trucks that just go back and forth between the port and warehouses all day long. And diesel, creates a lot of exhaust, and the Maersk wanted to electrify their trucking fleet. And the Prologis talked to the local utility. The local utility was like, "That's great. We'll get to you in about 3 to 5 years.
We can't help you
We
right
can't
now."
help you right now. Sorry." And so Prologis had heard about us somewhere and said, "Hey, Mainspring, can you help us build a microgrid?" And within a year, we got that thing going with them. And so we're charging 96 EV trucks right now.
That's really cool.
At the Port of Los Angeles.
And we keep hearing that electrifying transportation is going to be a big, I learned that from Stephanie Pashman. It's going to be a big sector in basically saving the planet. Not to, speak in hyperbole. It's not. It's the key. So I want to bring in Matt Smith now and talk about what this means for Pittsburgh. I've heard a couple different numbers: 300 skilled jobs, maybe 600 skilled jobs. Can you just break down what you think it's going to mean for employment in the Pittsburgh area?
Yeah, it's going to have a huge impact. I think over 600 jobs permanently once the facility is up and running, nearly 300 construction jobs to build the facility. And what it means for Pittsburgh is both the benefit that we're getting from that direct investment from a company like Mainspring coming in and saying, we want to make this really critical investment for the company and for the future of our energy grid within the Pittsburgh region. So you get the tangible benefit of those jobs, that economic impact. I think the other huge benefit to the Pittsburgh region is what it says about the Pittsburgh region economy right now and what it says about the Pittsburgh region economy in the future. And that is, we are very uniquely positioned through our regional strengths, 2 Tier 1 research institutions, our community partnership, to sit at the future of energy and manufacturing. And that's really, I think, a remarkable intangible benefit that this investment is going to bring as well.
I get a little romantic about Pittsburgh. I'm from here. You're from Indiana. You're from the South Hills of Pittsburgh. We're kind of all, I think, Pittsburghers. Yeah. But I think about energy in this part of the world. It goes back to oil, coal, whatever the next phase is, maybe hydrogen, obviously natural gas in the Marcellus Shale. Is that part of the reason why Mainspring also wanted to be here?
So yeah, one of the drivers for bringing us to Pittsburgh, other than the Allegheny Conference, which is very persuasive, and they roll out the red carpet for companies that want to invest in their region. So kudos to them. But this thing came out of a DOE grant opportunity, and the Department of Energy was really interested in seeing new investment for new technologies into areas that had been impacted by the decline of coal mining, by the decline of coal plants. And we surveyed the country, where we would be eligible to build a manufacturing facility. Turns out the key states were to the west of Pennsylvania and we went through a pretty sophisticated analysis, and we met with a lot of people in each of those 3 states, and kind of Pennsylvania rolled to the top of the list. Not least because the institutions that are here, like Carnegie Mellon, like in Pittsburgh, our technology kind of relies on pretty sophisticated electronics and we think this manufacturing facility is going to have a lot of automation and some robotics. And so being able to tap into the intellectual capital that is already here in Pittsburgh made it a no-brainer compared to some of the other locations that we were looking at.
Still ahead on For the Record, more on the decision to bring this major project to Pittsburgh and how many jobs are expected to come to our region. Welcome back to For the Record. Let's go back to my conversation now about Mainspring Energy's big plans for Pittsburgh and how it will bring jobs to the region and how they're looking toward the future.
Having grown up in Indiana County for a while, I've seen, I've lived very close to the Keystone Power Plant. So that was my first introduction to coal power when I was a little kid. Following the news, Homer City was a massive coal plant that shut down a couple years ago, and now is in the news again as, it's going to demolish everything and kind of build brand new gas plants right now. And that's just the evolution of the energy industry. We've gone from oil and coal to natural gas, and the future might be hydrogen. And so our technology can run on natural gas today, can run on hydrogen tomorrow, and it can go back and forth interchangeably. So we've kind of
just
de-risked.
those two, right?
Oh, we can run on ammonia, we can run on biogas, we can run on propane, like you name it, we can run on it. In fact, we're working on a really large deal right now with a very large utility in Colorado that has a community that's at 7,500 feet elevation, which is at risk of wildfire. And there's one transmission line that serves that entire community, which has a university, has a hospital, and a lot of disadvantaged residents. And we're working with the utility to replace an old gas generator with our units that will run on natural gas, but will also have 5 days of propane storage on site in case for whatever reason the transmission line gets cut and there's not enough gas in the pipe to keep the plant running. So we'll have this redundancy in fuel that is also clean and not really available before at this type of level.
There was that DOE grant, what, $87 million? Okay, so you're getting a big pot of taxpayer dollars for sure. What do you plan to do with that? And what do you want to kind of tell our viewers about how you're going to be a steward of that and this region?
Okay, yeah, so they're not just going to give us $87 million.
Okay.
It's a matching grant. They're not writing us a check. What we're doing right now is proving to the Department of Energy that we have a plan, and that plan is going to cost about $175 million, not just $87 million. And so that plan is to kind of build this facility and use highly innovative tools for some of the machining that we're going to be doing on site, as well as buying the equipment for the assembly of the generators ourselves. So the Department of Energy is being very judicious about allocating any of these dollars, and basically we have to make the investment first, and then we seek reimbursement later. And we'll need to be very fastidious about checking all the boxes, otherwise that money would be at risk.
It's hard to get those grants. They don't just give them out to anybody. And Matt, you can talk about a little about sort of why people watching this right now, and it seems like a big scientific endeavor, but why should Pittsburghers be excited about it?
Yeah, I think as you said, Shannon, this was really a community effort, and Mainspring is a company that really became part of the community over the last 18 months. We had over 140 individuals, over 30 organizations involved in this effort, and Mainspring made specific commitments through that DOE grant application to on the workforce side, on the capital investment side, that are really significant for this region. And I think people are going to see direct benefits from this investment, both from Mainspring and, as I said, the message that this sends across the country and across the world about Pittsburgh and the Pittsburgh region being a global leader in the future of energy and manufacturing. This really puts us on the map, and we think it's only a bright future ahead of us in this regard.
Do you want to mention the construction jobs?
Yeah, as I said earlier, the only over 300 construction jobs, I think, in the ultimate construction of the facility, or nearly 300 construction jobs in the construction of the facility, and that's a direct benefit that's going to come to workers here. It's going to come to companies here in this region as the facility is up and running, and that's a direct benefit that will occur as soon as the shovels are in the ground on the facility. And then we'll see benefits from the workers that Mainspring ultimately employs working at the facility.
And that the significance of it being sort of in that airport corridor, that's sort of a special place for economic development that I know you folks have had your eye on for some time as this new airport comes into being. What does that all mean to you, Matt?
It's a tremendous benefit. I'm on the Allegheny County Airport Authority board. Mainspring looked at, as Craig said, a number of sites throughout the country. And this was a site that really worked for them for a number of reasons. I think the DOE investment is obviously critical. I think layering on top of that, the new terminal that we're going to have opened in 2025 is a really significant step forward for the airport corridor. And then I think it's also important to recognize the state assistance and state investment in this endeavor. We have, we needed all of the ingredients, as we do on all economic development projects, from the federal investment to state investment, and also having leadership in Harrisburg with Governor Shapiro and his administration, the bipartisan support in the legislature to have to create the environment on the ground so that we are a healthy host for companies like Mainspring, so that we have really smart tax policy, really smart regulatory policy that enables us to attract this kind of investment.
And back to you, Craig, I wanted to just sort of ask you, as our viewers are watching this new thing take shape, it is a new thing. So what do you want to say to folks about how you plan to be a good neighbor in Pittsburgh, environmentally, economically, and just in the community?
Well, I guess our company's based in California today. We have, manufacturing operations in Mexico, and one of the things that we want to do more of is be building here in the United States, having a strong domestic presence. And I think it goes to the quality of our leadership at the company. We care a lot about our employees, and we're going to. Nothing happens overnight, and investments take time, and it's going to take years and decades to kind of build that integration in that fabric of the community. But we're committed to it, and I think when you hire good people want to stay. Good people contribute, in other areas of their lives to the local community, and so I think it just kind of builds on itself. And I think the future of energy in this country is really interesting, and we're seeing this huge rush of power demand right now from AI, from data centers, and it's kind of it's like an arms race, if you will, to control the AI world, and these AI supercomputers need so much power, and we're basically transitioning to a time where there's just rampant load growth for these massive data centers, and we need the power plants to be able to provide the power. And our company is just one piece of a much larger puzzle that will come in and solve that problem, but we need a U.S. base to do it on, and I think Pittsburgh is great for. It just exudes energy, in multiple forms. Yeah. So there couldn't be a better place to come, in my view, than Western Pennsylvania, where energy is always front and center, and you have people always thinking about how do we innovate? How do we innovate on technology? How do we innovate on generation? I think it's going to take time, but it's all going to come together, and we want to be good citizens.
Yeah. Did Craig tell you that I've tried to convince them to headquarter their company here? It's a great place to put a company headquarters. I'm just saying, right? Yeah. Just throwing that out there. Tell Shannon Miller, tell the other co-founders that they're going to want to live in Pittsburgh.
Well, one of our co-founders is from Philly.
Okay.
Shannon's from Massachusetts. And I think the other co-founder is from the Pacific Northwest.
I'm just saying, just throwing it out there.
It's a great point, and I think you made a really important point earlier, Shannon, when you said, we have a history of energy and manufacturing. We have a history of making things in the Pittsburgh region. And to Craig's point, we're a region that is constantly thinking about what's next in energy, what's next in manufacturing, what's next in other sectors. This is a great example of how Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh region again, is creating a new frontier in new forms of energy, new forms of manufacturing. And as Craig noted, the demand for power over the next 50 years is going to be really significant. And we think we fit into that puzzle really neatly.
Keep it here. A look at what's coming up next week on For the Record, right after this. Welcome back. Coming up next week on For the Record, an episode to watch with your children. We speak with the FBI about how young people are being targeted online, what families can do to address that, and warning signs to watch out for if your child is becoming a victim.
They will target these individuals and they will start to groom them. They will groom them by showing them that they care. They will buy them gifts. They will send them gift cards. If they're overseas, they'll start loading Google prepaid gift cards, they'll Amazon gift cards, stuff like that. They'll start buying presents for these people to build up trust. I know it's almost counterintuitive to talk to young people and kind of say like, hey, listen to me because I'm an adult and I know better than you. But just from experience, just from seeing these investigations, how disturbing they can be. The social media platforms are not your friends. Their interest is not to protect you. The people you meet online may seem like they're friendly. You may think that they are friendly because they are providing you with gifts. That is what I said is called grooming. If you don't know the individual, you should take a step back. You should not listen to what they say.
You don't want to miss this important episode of For the Record next Sunday morning at 11:30 right here on WTAE Channel 4. Until then, thank you for watching and have a great week.